All right, we are live. So it's gonna jump right in. Um, Listen, we love to see people with 2020 vision through lenses we can't or haven't even cleaned since 2020. And the wild part is we do it confidently. Like we know exactly what's wrong with everybody else while we're looking through dust, fingerprints, trauma, assumptions, and a whole lot of bias. Now, before we go any further in today, I want you to just pause and really be honest with yourself for 10 seconds. And I want you to think of someone you've been frustrated with lately, a student, a colleague, a child, a partner, a team member, whoever. And then I want you to ask yourself one question. What story have I told myself about them without even checking if any part of it was actually true? Like, did I have a whole experience with them without them? Now, don't overthink it. Just notice the story. And that's the lens. That's what we working on today. And that's where we will be working today. So I want to welcome you to Mindful Moments. I'm Dr. Tawana, and this is our time to slow down, to get clear, and to practice the kind of leadership that makes people feel safe enough to stay. And what we do here is honest, it's grounded, and it's designed to strengthen environments that we lead. So before we go further, do me a favor and share with your audience so that they can chime in and check in, tag it, tag somebody else so that they can come in. But go ahead and share it out. So I was reading Matthew 7, chapter 7, verses 1 through 5. And we all heard it before, and we hear it all the time. It starts with judge not. But the Passion Translation says, refuse to be a critic full of bias towards others. Now that struck me. Refuse to be a critic of bias towards others because most of us don't think we're judging. What we think judging looks like slander, like gossip, like toxic behavior, but bias, tone, assumptions, we don't question. Narratives we write in our heads, we don't count those as judgment. And then the scripture says something even more honestly hilarious. It says, before you go correcting somebody else's speck, can you please deal with the plank, the wooden beam sticking out your own eye? Now imagine this. So a beam sticking out of somebody's eye. Yes, it is meant to sound that ridiculous. And that's the point. Because imagine somebody trying to help you with something tiny while they're walking around with this whole roof beam just hanging out of their head. You'll be looking like, right? So here's what really clicked for me. Here's the real issue that is being named here altogether. Like you can't see clearly until you deal with the distorts in your sight. A plank isn't behavior. It's not a flaw. It's not even the mistake. A plank is the thing in you that makes other people's speck looks like threats. Your bias, your interpretations, your relational posture, your unhealed places, your exhaustion, your history with people that look like them, sound like them, lead like them. So let's just look at it a little bit more practical. In leadership, we misuse or not misuse or misread, our teams, and we think they're resistant when they're actually overwhelmed. Like a principal thinks teachers are checked out, but they're drowning in invisible workloads. That's a plank misreading a spec. In parenting, we think our kids are defiant when they're really stuck. So you think your child is ignoring you, but their experience or their executive functioning is maxed out. That's a plank misreading a spec. And in other relationships, we think people are pulling away when they're actually drowning and reaching for help. A teacher thinks a student is defiant, but the child is dysregulated, overstimulated, and even confused. That's a plank misreading a spec. So you see how quickly distortion turns into misinterpretation. And let me tell you this, I've lived this. as a parent, as a school leader, as someone raising neurodivergent children, as someone who was mislabeled, misjudged more times than I can even count or would even want to admit. People corrected me through their own distorted lenses. And honestly, I've done it too. And if you're being honest with yourself, so have you. Because when you're tired or triggered or overwhelmed, your lens will lie to you. Correction does things or says things like, here's what needs to be fixed. But support actually says, let me deal with my own distortion so I can actually show up for you. And this is much more than just support. Love actually plays a big part in this. And I'm not talking about the romantic type love or even the relational type love. I'm talking about structural. Leading with love is structural, it's not soft. Love is accountability without humiliation. And so while support says, let me deal with my distortion so that I can actually show up for you, love says, before I speak into your life, let me clean my lens so that I don't harm you. Before I speak into your behavior, let me check if my distortion is talking. Now, here's the part that really, really grabbed me. Blind spots aren't things that you deny. They're things that you genuinely can't see without community. So let's be clear on something else here. The scripture didn't even say, take the plank out your eye and walk away, avoid the other person, don't engage. No, it said, take it out so you can actually help. And we need to be willing to engage in the conflict so that we can champion it. We teach students in schools and we teach in life that conflict is important. Like, what is the cause and the effect? That's conflict. And oftentimes we think about conflict being messy, like drama. But I'm not talking about the messy kind. I'm not talking about the drama or the attack. I'm talking about conflict that we can champion and definitely not avoid it. But the necessary kind is the kind that tells the truth in clarity. It's the kind that creates the type of clarity and connection and doesn't cause confusion. So you can't champion conflict if you're operating in distortion, because distorted correction, that becomes harm. Distorted clarity becomes control. Distorted guidance, well, that becomes shame. And in schools, this creates behavior cycles, burnout, and retention issues. In families, it creates shutdown. So, if I had to summarize this, if I had to just sum this all up, your judgment of others will always be distorted until you deal with what distorts your sight. And we deal with our blind spots, not to say, I'm good, is to see so that you can see others good and so that you can do good. And yeah, I said it like that as an educator. You don't say, I'm good. You do it so you can see good. But it's to help others grow without harming them, right? We can't walk around thinking that we know it all and we see it all and we got it all if we're not willing to step back for a second and look at ourselves, if we're not willing to step back and understand ourselves so that we can be aware of others. This is why I titled this about having 2020 vision. We feel like we know as leaders, as parents, as teachers, we feel like we just know, but we're not taking a moment to look at the things that may be clouding our vision. And then we're not using our community to help us do that. And oftentimes it's because the community has been set up in a space, in a situation that causes judgment. So therefore you feel like you can't even be honest enough to say, I don't have it. I'm not good. I do need help to see this clearly. Help me to understand. I've actually heard in some situations where teachers have even said, like, I can't learn anything from kids. You certainly can. I was having a conversation yesterday with the teacher that talked about how much you can learn from students. And it's important because one, they're our future. And so they're going to tell us a lot, but not just with students, with anybody that you're in relation with, whether it's leading, whether it's parenting or whatever it is, that person teaches you how to interact with them. They're going to give you sign tales of what's going to keep them engaged. And if you're not listening or seeing, not with your eyes, but with everything else, then they will leave. And so being able to remove the plank from your eye helps you help them. Because like I said in the scripture, it doesn't say take the plank out your eye and then leave. It says take the plank out your eye so that you can help them. Because in that same token, what's distorting your vision, even though it's a plank, they have something distorting theirs as well as a speck. And so the biggest takeaway from this is when you show that structural love, that you're willing to step back and understand others and remove your distortions, then they're willing to do the same. Not looking at you like, you got something all up in your eye, but you coming to me, it's like, oh, you're willing to clear that from your lens. And that's going to be something that's going to help me clear minds. Now I feel safe enough to come to you and say, hey, I'm not seeing this clearly. Can you help me? Help me understand. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But listen, every Friday, we'll be tackling such issues as this. I did put a pause on mindful moments for a moment because I wanted to really dig into the deeper issues that we are seeing on why people are leaving organizations, why teachers are tapping out of schools, and they may not be leaving, but they're leaving. And you're seeing it in your homes when your children are coming home overwhelmed, overstimulated, over capacity of the things that they can do because teachers are just tapped out. And until they can find something else, they're going to stay in that building left, quietly quit it. In organizations, they're doing the same thing. People will stay for a paycheck, but they will quit mentally. In relationships, the same things are happening. And so I took a break for a moment so that we can start to tap in and really look at the reasons and how do we transform the environments where we have people to stay, but stay because they want to stay for it to work. They want to stay because of the mission behind the organization, the mission behind the relationship, the mission behind what it takes to grow and develop others, but also because they see value in it for themselves to grow as well. And so every Friday at 12:30, we'll be here tackling real issues, getting real, doing self-checks, pearl clutching moments so that we can be able to transform environments that we lead in to become environments that people stay in. And so this is the level of clarity that leadership culture requires. And when I say leadership, I'm not just talking about in schools and organizations, I'm talking about in your homes too. And this is the work that I'm hired to lead inside districts, schools, organizations. If your team is ready for creating safe spaces, then I employ you to connect with me because it's time to start changing environment after environment. Again, share this with those that you're connected to. If you are on whatever platform you're watching this from, typically we'll go a little bit longer, but I wanted to just start here. I wanted to start here with our vision and how we need to be able to clear out some things that are distorting our vision so that we can move with clarity. So, thank you for showing up today and doing this type of work with me. Again, share this with others. Take what you heard, sit with it, apply it, and notice how your lens shifts this week. Until next Friday, 12:30, take care.